They laughed when Clara Whitmore spent her hard-earned money on 70 acres of dry, worthless land in Colorado territory. The townspeople called it nothing but dust, rocks, and rattlesnakes. But Clara knew something they didn't. Her late father had left behind a mysterious letter telling her to look beneath the old barn. What she discovered under those broken wooden boards would uncover a secret worth a fortune and place her life in terrible danger. Who had been hiding the secret beneath her land? And why had her father warned her never to trust the men in town? Stay with us until the end to discover the shocking truth. If you enjoy Old West stories, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get started. In the summer of 1884, beneath the burning sun of Colorado territory, Clara Whitmore stepped down from a dusty stagecoach and looked across the 70 acres she had just purchased. There was nothing beautiful about the land. No green fields, no flowing river, no grand house. Only cracked earth, dry weeds, scattered stones, and an old wooden barn leaning dangerously toward the ground. The townspeople had laughed when they heard what Clara had done. "You paid good money for 70 acres of dust?" the blacksmith had mocked. The storekeeper shook his head. "Miss Whitmore, that land ain't worth the paper you signed." Clara had heard every cruel word, but she had not come to Colorado for their approval. She had come because of her father. Before his death, Thomas Whitmore had left her an old leather journal and one mysterious letter. The letter contained only a few lines. "Clara, when the world says you inherited nothing, remember that your father knew better. Look beneath the old barn." For 3 months, Clara had wondered what those words meant. Now she finally stood on the land. That evening, she entered the abandoned barn with a lantern in one hand and her father's journal in the other. Dust floated through the golden light. The wooden boards creaked beneath her boots. She searched beneath loose hay, broken barrels, and piles of rotting tools. Nothing. Then she noticed something strange. One section of the floor was made from newer boards than the rest. Clara knelt and brushed away the dirt. Her heart began to race. She pulled out a hammer and struck the first board. Once, twice. On the third blow, the wood cracked. Beneath it was darkness. Clara lowered her lantern. There was a small iron ring attached to a trap door. With trembling hands, she pulled. The door opened with a deep groan. A cold breeze rose from beneath the barn. Clara stepped closer. Then, clang! Her shovel, which she had dropped beside her, struck something metallic below. She climbed down and discovered an old iron chest buried beneath the dirt. It was covered in rust, but the initials TW were still visible across the lid. Her father's initials. Clara struggled with the lock until it finally broke. Inside were dozens of old gold coins, several folded maps, and a weathered leather journal. But the final page stopped her cold. Written in her father's handwriting were the words, "The gold is not the greatest treasure beneath this land. If they discover what lies below, they will come for my daughter." Clara slowly raised her lantern. For the first time, she realized the 70 acres were not worthless at all. Someone had been hiding a secret beneath them. And whatever that secret was, her father had died protecting it. Clara Whitmore barely slept that night. Her father's warning kept echoing through her mind. If they discover what lies below, they will come for my daughter. At sunrise, Clara returned to the old barn carrying her father's journal, a lantern, and a revolver she had inherited from him. She climbed through the hidden trapdoor and studied the maps again. A red cross had been marked beneath the barn, followed by a single word, silver. Clara followed the narrow underground passage. The tunnel was cramped and nearly collapsed in places, but after several minutes she reached a stone chamber. Her lantern revealed something astonishing. Wooden crates were stacked against the walls. Clara opened one. Inside were silver ore samples. She opened another. More. Her father's journal explained everything. Years earlier, Thomas Whitmore had discovered an enormous silver vein beneath the 70 acres. But before he could claim it, a group of wealthy businessmen learned about the discovery. They threatened him. Thomas refused to sell. So he hid the mine and secretly purchased the land. But before he could reveal the truth, he died under mysterious circumstances. Clara's hands trembled as she turned another page. There was a list of names. 3 of them belonged to powerful men still living in the nearby town. Suddenly, Clara heard footsteps above the barn. She extinguished her lantern. Someone was inside. A man's voice echoed through the floorboards. "Search the place. She must have found something." Clara froze. They knew. She quietly moved deeper into the tunnel and discovered a second passage leading outside. She escaped through a rocky opening just before the men entered the barn. By evening, Clara rode into town and presented her father's documents to the county judge. The evidence proved that the entire mineral claim legally belonged to her. Within months, miners arrived. Silver poured from the earth. The 70 acres that everyone had called worthless became one of the richest properties in Colorado territory. The men who had mocked Clara were forced to watch their plans collapse. Years later, an old sign stood beside the barn. Whitmore Silver Mine, discovered 1884. Clara never forgot what her father had taught her. When the townspeople asked how she had known the land was valuable, she simply smiled. "My father believed treasure isn't always where people expect to find it." Then she looked across the endless Colorado plains. The land had never been just 70 acres of dust. It had been her father's final gift, and the secret that changed her life forever.